How's it going, New York Giants fans? My name is Alex, your host for Fireside Giants today. And today we have a cool segment on the line. We're going to talk about the primary needs for the Giants, ranking them 1 through 5. Their needs in the NFL draft. Obviously, the free agency period was meant to plug holes. Free agency, you really want to plug those holes that you can't primarily, solve in the draft because you have to develop these players. Some positions take longer to develop, like cornerback, for example. Usually, year one corners are not as refined, not as good. You can't really put them in and say you're a CB1 now. You kind of need veterans for that position. So they went out and got Adoree Jackson as a CB2. Obviously, Isaac got him as a former third-round pick. They traded a seventh-rounder to Denver for him and didn't really pan out. He was okay in some games, but for the most part, just wasn't exactly what we needed there. So Adoree Jackson, 3 years, $39 million. The Giants handed out over $210 million worth of contracts this offseason to Kenny Golladay, Leonard Williams, Adoree Jackson, John Ross, Ifeadi Odenigbo, a ton of other guys. Even if they're smaller contracts, they all add up and they really breached that $210 million mark, which is an absurd amount of money. But it was necessary because a lot of these contracts are paired with Daniel Jones' rookie year, his rookie contract. So after his fifth year, he has 3 years left on his deal, including the fifth-year option for the team, and all those contracts expire. So they're rolling with DJ. It is very clear they will not be drafting a quarterback in the next probably year, 2 years, even 3 years. He is the guy that they believe in. And I think Dave Gettleman's kind of tenure with the Giants kind of relies on his success. If Daniel Jones pans out and everything works out well, Dave Gettleman looks like a hero, but if he doesn't, he looks like a dud. So I think they feel they have the coaching staff. The Giants now have the largest coaching staff in the NFL. Joe Judge has put together, and I think they've realized the Giants have really skimped in that department in the past, just not bringing in the proper coaches to help their players maximize their potential. And that's the thing. You need the coaches, you need the talent evaluators, you need the teachers and mentors to help these players, especially these rookies, maximize their potential, reach their potential, because a lot of times they go to waste. Think of all the players that had so much upside, like Lorenzo Carter, even Will Hernandez was kind of late in the mix here. So a lot of these players just didn't have that time, those coaching staffs, to really help them reach their potential. I think now the Giants have put in place a great unit around Joe Judge to help these players primarily. And what's the point of drafting if you can't develop your talent? That's kind of what I'm trying to get at, is the Giants just did such a poor job of developing their talent. Think about Eric Flowers. Like, they started him at left tackle, and then they moved him to left guard when he went to Miami, and now he's a starting left guard who got a second contract. That's what the Giants didn't realize. If you can't force guys to be good at a position sometimes you just need to, say, we made a mistake here, let's try him in a different spot. Instead, they moved Eric Flowers to right tackle instead of a guard position, interior, because he just doesn't have that proper balance on the outside against those speed rushers. He just got burned so often. But in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Giants have an opportunity to go best player available at 11, because there could be 4 to 5 quarterbacks that go off the board in the first 5 to 10 picks. And that really opens up the draft for the Giants, because there's going to be the 5 to 6, draft picks after those first 5 selections will likely be non-quarterbacks. In a normal draft, maybe 1, maybe 2 quarterbacks go in the top 10. But now you have 4 to 5. There's going to be some elite talent dropping to the Giants. And that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go best player available. It could mean maybe they want to plug a big hole there. You go kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Maybe the best player on their board is Rashawn Slater at the time, and they also need an offensive lineman. And they kill 2 birds with 1 stone there, and it ends up working out in their favor. But to rank the biggest needs for the Giants in this draft class, number 1 has to be offensive line. It has to be Daniel Jones protection. Kenny Golladay doesn't matter. John Ross doesn't matter. Saquon doesn't matter if there are no holes to run through, if there's no protection for Daniel Jones. Last year, the Giants ranked 32nd overall in pass blocking efficiency, and it really allowed other teams to run cover 1, cover 0, and just send extra blitzers. The NFL is a mismatch league, so the more people you have rushing one guy, if you have 2 or 3 guys rushing one guy, of course he's going to be overwhelmed. We saw this against Baltimore specifically. There's a couple of scenarios that pop in my head against Matt Parrott. Matt Parrott let up 3 sacks in a row, and essentially because they had safeties and linebackers blitzing off the edge every time, and he was like, who the hell's my assignment? How are we stopping these extra blitzers? At a certain point, it becomes impossible. You just can't stop all these guys. You need weapons to draw attention. And that's what Kenny Golladay, John Ross, Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph, Sterling Shepard, those guys. Now you have a solid grouping of playmakers, and the Giants might even go out and get Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, depending on who falls to them, at 11. And if that's the case, teams have to play too deep every play. You have to play cover two, or just cover two or cover two man. You have to be very careful with those speed guys. Kenny Galladay, if you're playing cover one and you have one safety back there, and you're playing man coverage on Kenny Galladay and John Ross or Darius Slayton, one of those guys is gonna get open deep. The safety can only cover so much ground, and then if you force Evan Ingram up the seam, he has to cover that too, and the mismatches that you create. So next season, we're going to see a shift from teams playing a lot of cover 1 and cover 0 last year to now having to play cover 3 and cover 2, and really playing more of those zones, playing more over the top, having those 2 deep safeties, which is going to open up crossing routes. It's going to open up the running game because you have a guy that's now out of the box. But again, you don't necessarily have to go with wide receiver. You can go offensive line number 1. That's my number 1 on the board. A number 1 ranking rather for need. It doesn't mean they're going to go that. They could, it's hard to pass up on Devonta Smith, Micah Parsons, whatever it might be. But my biggest need for the Giants right now is offensive line. Doesn't matter if they have all these playmakers. Daniel Jones needs the support. So I think that's the primary thing with regarding the top 5. The number 1 has to be offensive line, specifically right guard, in my opinion. I think they feel pretty good about Matt Parrott. If you saw the picture of him, he looks massive. Guy's huge. I think they feel good about Parrott and Nate Solder as that rotational kind of aspect, seeing who rises to the occasion, more or less. I think they feel good about Andrew Thomas, the left tackle. Will Hernandez is probably going to be starting at left guard. And then you have Nick Gates at center. Right guard's I don't really trust Shane Lemieux personally. I don't know if I'm rolling with Shane Lemieux and saying I feel good about this right now. He was the worst pass blocking offensive lineman per PFF last year. Really was just so bad. If you watched him, it was pretty brutal. But he's a good trap power gap blocker, which is why they wanted him in there, because the only way the Giants were moving the football is by running the ball. And he got there quicker than Will Hernandez. He was a little bit better, more quick in that category. So I think the Giants are going to really look at this offensive line and say we need bolstering there, whether it's the first or second round. Could be either, but I know that one of those 2 rounds, they're going to go offensive linemen. They don't really have much of a choice. Even the media saying, Micah Parsons, Patrick Surtain, Devonta Smith, Azeez Ojulari, Jalen Phillips, they're going in circles right now trying to figure out what's going on, and I don't think they have any idea. It's very strange that nobody said the Giants are going offensive linemen, so I actually think that might be where they're looking, because, again, Daniel Jones, this is all about supporting DJ. If they're building all these contracts around Daniel Jones, obviously they know that they need to solve this offensive line problem, and it is a problem right now. So that's how I feel about it. I think number 1's offensive line. It's primary. I think the Giants have really kind of backed themselves into a corner with that. And if they didn't go that route, I'd be very surprised. Number 2 in terms of need is edge rusher. And I think everybody knows here, I don't trust Lorenzo Carter coming off an Achilles tear. I don't trust Ocean Ximenez coming off a labrum tear. They really haven't proven much. I know Lorenzo Carter looked good. He looked better before the Achilles tear. But at the end of the day, I'm not putting all my chips in on him at all. The Giants could very well go with Georgia standout, pass rusher Azeez Ojulari, who we just did a film review, Anthony rather did. So go check that out. It's really, really great. I think that the Giants, they know they need an edge rusher. They need a guy to come in and set the edge, stop the run, and also push that boundary on quarterbacks and whatnot, because they need to have a better pass rush. They ranked 12th last year with 40 sacks, but at the end of the day, that's not going to get it done all the time, because a lot of them were coverage sacks thanks to James Bradbury, our good secondary, Logan Ryan, Darnay Holmes. They held it down in that zone coverage scheme. They did really, really well. But if you have a guy like Jalen Phillips, if you have a guy like Azeez Ojulari who's going to, produce sack numbers, is going to produce from the edge, it makes things a lot easier, and you're going to get a lot more sacks. I mean, we just interviewed, you guys know this, we just interviewed Fadio Denebo, and he's, looking forward to the challenge. He thinks he might transition back to outside linebacker, play that, or a 4-3 kind of a down lineman, or rather in nickel package. The Giants, didn't play a ton in the 3-4. They really were mixing and matching things and playing a lot of 3 linebackers, 2 linebackers. Their primary scheme is a 3-4 disguised coverage scheme, but they're so versatile, and, they did a lot of nickel and dime packages. And I think if you're playing nickel, you have a Fadio Denebo who's really a 3 to 5 tech in hand in the dirt type of lineman. He can really rush the passer adequately. He's really strong, powerful hands. He's a guy that I'm really looking forward to. He was the Vikings' best pass rusher last year, and we got him for a really good contract. So I'm excited about that. But edge rusher, still, you can draft a guy outside linebacker, create a position battle with Ocean Ximenez, Lorenzo Carter. You can't go wrong. A lot of people will say, the first thing that you need on a defense is a pass rusher, elite, like premier pass rusher. That's the number one thing you need. Because otherwise, you build everything around that. That's why that Washington went with Chase Young. They're and Yitzhak Gross-Matos the year before. They're building around the pass rushers here. So that's interesting. They have a very, very good defense, and the Giants, I think, might go that route as well, which I wouldn't be surprised about at all. The third one on the board I have is wide receiver. This draft class is stacked full of wide receivers, ranging from Devonta Smith to Rashad Bateman to Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Kadarius Toney, Tutu Atwell from Louisville if you wanted to throw him, Tamori and Terry, Elijah Moore, Amon-Ra St. Brown. There is a ton of wide receivers. So freaking many wide receivers, Nico Collins throw in there, Dwayne Eskridge, there's so freaking many. You don't need to go wide receiver in the first round if you don't need to, because you can get a really great value pick in round 2 or 3 and still get a guy who can produce. Rondale Moore's another one that comes to mind. Wide receiver, you got Kenny Golladay, you got John Ross, Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. I'll tell you this. Kenny Galladay's are a bona fide wide receiver one. That's everyone knows this now. John Ross is more of a project. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's going to be an elite player. He could be great. He could be an absolute dud. That's why they signed him to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. It's one and done for him. Sterling Shepard, a fantastic number 2, not a number 1. He is going to he's going to feast because of Kenny Golladay, the attention that he demands. Darius Slayton is going to be good. I think he'll serve a rotational role. I think he could be even starting. You got Dante Pettis, who's good. So I'm pretty excited about this. I think wide receiver is that number 3 range, and it's such a deep class, you can really get it done. Number 4 is linebacker. Linebacker is a position that we have some decent depth. We got Reggie Ragland and we got Tay Crowder. But Blake Martinez, established number 1. He's our established linebacker starting. Mike, he's calling the plays from the huddle. But we don't have that kind of pairing with him, that coverage pairing that I'd like. That's where JOK stands out to me, because I really like his ability to cover. You got Reggie Ragland, who's more of a thumper, run stopper from Alabama. Kind of had a tough career with Detroit before coming over here, but I think he serves that David Mayo role, but at a cheaper price. David Mayo's making $3 million. He's making veteran minimum. So they saved $2 million for the same exact player for the most part. He basically is the backup to Blake Martinez. Then you got Tay Crowder, who actually, Mr. Irrelevant, who I really like. I think he has a lot of upside. I would love to see him get a little bit more action moving forward. I think he can be a decent cover linebacker. He had that fumble return for a touchdown last year. That was really big for us. I think that he's a good player. I think he has some upside. I would like to see him get some more reps next season if we don't draft a linebacker like Zavin Collins or Micah Parsons, whatever it might be. So I think linebacker is at number 4 spot. Number 5, I'm going with cornerback, because this year's draft is just so stacked full of talent at cornerback. There's so many great players to choose from. There's a slight drop off after the 3 or 4. Goes Patrick Surtain, Caleb Farley, J.C. Horn, and then it's the drop offs to Asante Samuel Jr., Fetty Melifonwu. There's a couple guys there that are really, really good. Greg Newsome out of Northwestern, I like him too. But there's a couple really good guys. Tay Gowan from UCF. Cornerback is so deep this year. You don't necessarily need to draft one, because we have some good players there with Adoree Jackson, but I would say get a mid-round pick. Spend a 3rd or 4th round pick on a corner, because it's so deep this year. There's so many great players. I'd love to get a Tay Gowan. I'd love to get Ifedi Melifonwu from Syracuse. I'd love to get one of those guys. There's Allen Robinson from UCF too. I think there's a couple of really good guys in the mid-rounds. You could get a guy like Darnay Holmes, really, with high upside and physical traits and good length, who can be a developmental boundary guy that you can work on the outside. That's what I would rather do than keep Sam Beal around. I'll tell you that right now. Sam Beal's been an absolute waste of time and money and development, because he doesn't ever actually play, and he opted out last season, for his own reasons. But cornerback, that's my fifth position that I think is based on need. So let's just review them really quickly. 1 is offensive line, 2 is edge rusher, 3 is wide receiver, 4 is linebacker, 5 is cornerback. Wide receiver is also interesting because Sterling Shepard has an out after this year, so they might want to go wide receiver earlier and then take that out in his contract and save some money and roll it over to somebody else. Or really just save it and allocate it to the draft class more or less. So I'm excited about this, guys. Let me know what you would rank these 5 positions of need in the comment section. I'm curious. The Giants don't need to go with a need in the first round. They can go best player available. Go with the best guy on their draft board, which I'm totally fine with. But for the most part, this is how I think the draft might actually unfold for them. Offensive line, edge, wide receiver, linebacker, corner. It could end up going that route. But we'll see, guys. We're getting really close. We're only 10 days away from the draft. I'm super excited. I know you guys are. We're going to do a draft video. We'll be live for the entire first round. Super, super, super excited for this. Going to be a great time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have an awesome Sunday, and the rest of your week is going to be a great week. Really nice in New York, so I know the weather is going to be beautiful. And I hope you guys enjoyed your weekend, had a great time. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. Make sure to subscribe below on YouTube. Turn on notifications for Apple and Spotify. Much love, guys.